What's going on, guys? Alpha the Wizard back out of here with another video. Today we're going to be continuing the meta history of Yu-Gi-Oh! In the last episode we did GOAT format, where I covered a Reasoning Gate Turbo profile, and I also went over in a previous video my traditional GOAT deck. In this video, we're going to be tapping into Reaper format, which was immediately right after the September 2005 ban list. So essentially, this is directly after GOAT format. Right after they banned Pot of Greed, Graceful Charity, Delinquent Duo, Metamorphosis went to 1, so nobody really played it that often. And then a few other changes like Mirror Force was banned as well. But yeah, so without further ado, let's just go ahead and hop right in. So to start things off, with the boss monsters, we have Mobius. Mobius was a really good one this format because Reaper format is essentially what I would like to consider a trade format. And what I mean is the opponent's going to be playing more back row this format because, the power scale of this format's a lot lower. So it's very skillful as well. So with people playing more back row, Mobius just comes in the format clean, just cleaning 2 of them up as a +1. So yeah, Mobius is really, really strong this format. And then we also have Cyber Dragon. Cyber Dragon's really good this format just for the sole purpose of it's a big body and it's a light, because in addition to Cyber Dragon, we're also playing Chaos Sorcerer. So just having lights and darks in our deck, Chaos Sorcerer, you could justify playing 2 or even 3 of it. I think 1 is okay because, like I said, it's a 1-for-1 format. So you definitely are going to be trading with your opponent more often than not. So I definitely think it's okay having 1 because I don't want to brick. I want to have consistency as well. And I want to be able to fit the Mobius in because Mobius is very powerful this format. But yeah, so those are the only real boss monsters we play. We could play 2 Chaos Sorcerer though, so keep that in mind if you ever decide to play this format. But then I am playing like a more toolboxy strategy. So what that entails is I'm also playing DD Survivor. So DD Survivor, the reason why it's really good in this 1-for-1 format is because the opponent's going to be playing cards like Bottomless Trap Hole. They might be playing, DD Assailants, DD Warrior Ladies. Those cards were very, very popular this format. So DD Survivor just attacking into a DD Assailant is just free value because this is going to come back in the end phase. And they can't Bottomless this card. So, I mean, they can, but it's just not a smart decision. But yeah, so we do play the DD Survivor, but we also play DD Assailant and DD Warrior Lady. So these cards are really good this format, just because with it being as much of a 1-for-1 format as it is, DD Warrior Lady is going to be able to deal with the inherent problem of the format, and that is Spirit Reaper. Now, Assailant doesn't quite serve the same purpose, but it is a big body monster that can deal with threats and start making pushes for the opponent. So some people justify playing DD Assailant at 2, but I think it's okay as a 1-of. And then to continue the toolbox strategy, we also play a Blade Knight, because it's also a warrior, and we do play, reinforcements of the army. So these are all targets off of that. And Blade Knight is really good this format because it's very much a set pass format. So with that being said, they might be setting a Dekoichi. Realistically, they could be setting Magician of Faith. Blade Knight is just going to inherently deal with those cards. But then we also play on Donnie Z. Danzalug is one of my favorite cards this format, just for the sole purpose, with it being a trade format, you're going to be able to hand rip your opponent, and it's very easy to just clear the field, and this card just dodges Bottomless Trap Hole. So just simply attacking for 14, they're going to have to waste their Sakuretsu armor on Danzalug, which isn't much value for them because they want to save those cards for more problematic cards like DD Warrior Lady or DD Assailant. So Donnie Z being in this deck just gives you more options to bait your opponent's cards, and it's very strong if I do say so myself. And then also, the card that is not quite banned yet, Exiled Force. This card just deals with problematic cards such as DD Warrior Lady. It can deal with the Chaos Sorcerer, Cyber Dragon. It can just out big threats. So Exiled is really, really good. And then also Mystic Swordsman level 2. I really, really like this card in Reaper format. Even though the card is not very strong, it's really, really good this format for the sole purpose of your opponent's going to be setting cards more often than not. So with Mystic Swordsman being in the deck, you're going to be able to dodge a lot of things. Even their DD Warrior Lady. If Mystic Swordsman attacks DD Warrior Lady, it's just going to go to the graveyard. So I think this card is definitely worth playing, and especially with it being a reinforcements of the army target, I definitely see the reason for doing it. But yeah, so that's really it for the toolboxy cards and the boss monsters. Now for the more staple cards of this format. We have Breaker, the Magical Warrior. Breaker is just really, really good, even better than it was in GOAT format, just because since this is a 1-for-1 format, the opponents are going to be playing cards like Sakuretsu Armor, things of that nature, because Mirror Force is banned. So Breaker is just going to bait all of them. Torrential Tribute, it's really, good, just like it was in GOAT for those purposes, but also people are going to be playing more Dust Tornadoes too, because they're looking to trade with the opponent and out problematic cards. So Breaker can inherently deal with those cards as well. But of course, we got to play Sangan, because this card is too good not to play. It can search the best card in the deck, which is the soul and heart of this format, and that is Spirit Reaper. Spirit Reaper is pretty hard to out this format. Like, yeah, there are cards that out it, like Brain Control or Snatch Steal, but just in a nutshell, Spirit Reaper, this is called Reaper format for a reason, because this card was the center of the format. So Reaper was on the field more times than not, and your opponent had to go out of their way to be able to out this card. So definitely Spirit Reaper, some people play 3. I think you really only need 2, especially if you're not playing recruiters, but I want to have more room for other things as well. So we do play the Magician of Faith. I'm pretty sure this got put to 1. I may be mistaken, but most people only played this at 1 this format anyway, because Magician of Faith, obviously a lot of the power spells got banned, Delinquent Duo, Graceful Charity, Pot of Greed, but it's still going to be able to serve good utility, recycling like maybe a Reinforcements of the Army, which the whole deck is a toolboxy deck, so it's like being able to recycle Rhoda is really, really good. So in addition to Magician of Faith, we also play a 1-of Magical Merchant. This card has more purpose this format than GOAT. In GOAT, the card was really good, but this format, you want to be able to trade with your opponent and net some advantage. So Magical Merchant does just that. Your spell and trap cards are what you want to get to this format, because your monsters, while they may be good, you definitely want to be able to deal with what your opponent's doing and be able to trade with them. And then, yeah, that's really it for all the monsters. So moving on to the spell cards. It's a given, we have to play Heavy Storm. This is a Heavy Storm format, and this card makes people play differently. So the reason why this format is so skillful is because of cards like this, Heavy Storm. And then also this format, we also have the addition, fresh off the ban list, Dark Hole. So these cards alone alter deck building and gameplay, exactly how your opponent's going to set up their field, how many monsters they're going to commit. So yeah, these cards definitely are part of what made this format so skillful. But then, of course, we got to play Mystical Space Typhoon. We want as much back row removal as we can possibly get this format, just because, you know, your opponent is going to be playing a plethora of trap cards. Snatch Steal is still legal, so there's no reason not to play this either. It's just generically good for taking their monster. Nobody's really playing Tsukiyomi, even though it's still legal. But yeah, Snatch Steal is really, really good this format as well. And we also play Premature Burial. I mean, for obvious reasons, Premature Burial can revive Sangan, it can revive, you know, a Cyber Dragon. It can even revive Chaos Sorcerer if it was properly summoned the first time. And then newly at 1, if I remember correctly, we have Scapegoat. Card's too good not to play. It just gives you 4 free bodies. And as slow as this format is, those 4 free bodies, you know, they really go a long way. And then we do play 1 Nobleman of Crossout. We don't really need to max out on this. I mean, you can like side another one if you really want to, but most people only played 1 Nobleman just for the sole purpose. You know, like you don't really need to this format because yes, while your opponent may have a fair amount of set monsters, a lot of times they're going to be trying to make pushes with like Assailants or DD Warrior Ladies, things of that nature, or even Recruiters. Half the time they're not setting those cards. They want to be able to abuse them and they don't want to play in a knock as well. But yeah, in addition to this, I do play 2 Reinforcements of the Army just because this is a toolbox deck, so it just makes sense. Like you want to be able to search whatever you need with reinforcements. So, and then because of Spirit Reaper, people started playing Smashing Ground. This card is very necessary in the deck. Just because Spirit Reaper is such a problematic card, you need to have more outs to be able to out it. And, you know, just simply being able to Smashing Ground and trade with a Spirit Reaper, it goes such a long way. And I do play 1 Book of Moon. Book of Moon is pretty decent this format. Like, it's not the craziest card in the world, but it is really good just for being able to, like, recycle your flip effects. And it's also an interruption for your opponent. And then I also play 1 Enemy Controller. I really like Enemy Controller this format just because it's very similar to Book of Moon. You know, it's an interruption for your opponent, doesn't remove the monster, but, you know, it also serves as that, you know, being able to get over a card. And then in addition, you know, if you have like Scapegoat or even a Sangan on the field still, you can Enemy Controller, tribute it, and take their monster. And then like maybe tribute for something bigger. So yeah, Enemy Controller is really, really solid in this deck. And then also we play Brain Control. It's a card a lot of people didn't really play in GOAT format just because, you know, didn't really need to. But this format, it's really good because it's an out to Spirit Reaper. And then the newest addition to the format is Swords of Revealing Light. A lot of people didn't play this in GOAT format, but this card is really good in Reaper for the sole purpose of, you know, if they have a Spirit Reaper and you Swords, you know, you don't want them to be able to attack you directly. But also, you know, Swords is going to buy you turns in this format because it's very much a slow format. So Swords just got almost power creep for this format. But that's really it for all the spells in this deck. Now, moving on to the traps did get a little bit more extensive. We're still playing Torrential Tribute, just like GOAT format. Mirror Force did get banned, so we can't play that. But we do play Call the Haunted. Call the Haunted is really good this format because, you know, just like Premature Burial, being able to like revive a Sangan, you know, it's just very powerful. And then since Mirror Force is banned and we do need more removal since it's a trade format, we play 3 Sakuretsu Armor. Now, Sakuretsu is actually really, really good this format because, yeah, you just want to be able to trade with your opponent. You want to be able to out that DD Warrior Lady very easily, and Sakuretsu does a great job of doing that. And then in addition to Sakuretsu, we do play Bottomless Trap Hole, just because, like, you know, if they have a card like Cyber Dragon, a card like Mobius, you know, Bottomless just can inherently deal with those big threats. And then last but not least, I play 2 Dust Tornado. Some people play this at 3. I think 2 is okay, but this just goes to show how prevalent back row is in this format. Outing a Sakuretsu Armor is very important sometimes because you might need to make a push. Dust Tornado also has a cool effect where, you know, if you use it, you can set a card from your hand. So like you can set Call the Haunted on your opponent's turn and then use it on your turn. and it plays around Heavy Storm because they might not heavy. But yeah, so Dust Tornado is a very good card, has good application. And yeah, that's really it for the profile. I hope you enjoyed the Reaper format video. They didn't really use an extra deck too often in Reaper format. Metamorphosis was at 1, so they didn't necessarily need to. But at the same time, you know, you can play meta, but you don't really need to. So yeah, that's it for the video. I really hope you all enjoyed it, and I really love this DD Survivor, yo. DD Survivor is such a nice card. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.